What's up guys, Airsoft Man 819 here again with yet another video, cranking out the Airsoft reviews as promised. So we have another Airsoft gun review today. This one's going to be pretty interesting, especially if you guys saw the unboxing I did. This is going to be a review of a very rare gun, a very uncommon gun, and a gun that not a lot of people know about. So today's review is actually going to be on the KWC Ultra Grade. I think it's Ultra Grade. It's either Super Grade or Ultra Grade Spring Desert Eagle 50 caliber. Now, there's been a few Spring Desert Eagles on the market. Actually, KWC makes one today, but it's much different than this one right here. And there's also one that's made by Cybergun, and it's a piece of crap. But this is an Ultra Grade model that KWC made for a few years, and it's been out of production since 2008 or 2009. The reason I know that is because I actually had one of these when I was a kid. I ordered one of these in 2008 from shortyusa.com, and they had it on sale for like 50 bucks, and I got mine in the mail, and I had it for a few days, and I got back on Shorty USA, and the gun was out of stock, and it never ever came back. And I checked every other website that sold it, and they were all gone there too, and I've not seen them in stock anywhere ever since. So I'm led to believe that this gun, at least in the United States, has not been sold since at least 2008, and it's a fairly rare gun to find. Now, there were two versions of this gun, the licensed version and the unlicensed version. The gun that I had when I was a kid was actually the licensed version, which was licensed by Israel Military Industries, IMI for short, and it had IMI trades on it. This is actually the direct manufacturer version that has all the KWC trades on it. It's not licensed or anything, and I really lucked out when I got this. I actually bought this on eBay, brand new. It had never been fired or anything like that. It was still new in the box, and it had an extra magazine with it, which was freaking awesome, and I really lucked out on this gun. It's in amazing shape. It was imported, I can tell, because it has a painted on orange tip, and they really didn't do these unless they were doing importing. Most of the guns that were sold here in the United States had a plastic muzzle cap on them, but this has been imported, I can tell, because of the painted on orange tip. So, what inspired me to get this gun and do this video is I actually tried to start a video series back earlier in my YouTube career called Rare Airsoft. I think there might be one video of that series left. Actually, yes, there is. The Maruzen Mac 11, no, not the Mac 11, the Maruzen Micro Uzi, gas blowback Micro Uzi. That was actually the only video in that series that took off, and I'm here to really revive that series. So this is a very interesting gun in many ways. It never was really practical even when it was new, which is probably one of the reasons it's no longer made. It's over-engineered to the max for a spring pistol. It has way too many bells and whistles to count, especially for a spring pistol. What this essentially is, it's like a gas blowback pistol with a spring mechanism in it. That's the quality we're talking about with this pistol. The quality is insane, the attention to detail is insane, and it's just a really overcomplicated pistol, and that's actually one of its weaknesses. Unfortunately, that's actually what happened to my original one. I was a little bit too rough with it when I was a kid, and it just broke, basically. The magazine broke, some internal parts cracked because there's just too many of them, and it's too delicate of a gun on the inside. But it's still a really interesting piece to talk about today, and I'm really excited to show you guys this pistol. So let's bring the camera back and take a closer look at this pistol. Okay guys, so let's take a look at this pistol. Before we really get into the gun itself, I'll go ahead and show you guys the packaging, because I'm pretty sure you guys are wondering what the packaging on this looks like. So let me get the gun out of the way and grab the packaging real quick. Here's the box. Like I said, this is the unlicensed, direct from the manufacturer version, so there's no Desert Eagle like Magnum Research Trades or IMI Trades on the box. It just says Model Eagle, adjustable hop-up, blah, 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 blah. They were really advertising the hop-up. I guess hop-up was a fairly new thing when this gun was made or something, I don't know. It says KWC, Kindwell, made in Taiwan. Just gives you some parameters on the side there. Nothing fancy. I think there's actually some like Taiwanese writing on it right there. Pretty cool. And you just open the box up. I'm not really going to open up all this paperwork because it's never been opened. I don't want to devalue any of it. You get a little sheet explaining hop-up and how it works. You get your manual, which is in this plastic. And you get a test target and some other little pamphlets in there. You get a parts list, things like that. Test target. This little hop-up tag came on the gun. You get a 100 pack of .2s. Actually, the original BBs are still in there. I'm not going to pull that out. And right here in this little slot underneath is where you'll get your speed loader. You actually, if you really want to shoot this gun, you're actually going to need this because of how the magazines work. So I would hold on to this. I wouldn't throw it away or get rid of it or anything. You actually kind of need this to load the magazines. So let's get the paperwork and stuff out of the way. Move this box. It's pretty neat that it came new in the box. It's a pretty rare thing to find. Just in case you're curious, this is what the packaging looks like for the extra mags. Extra mags are almost as uncommon as the gun. Matter of fact, extra mags might be even more uncommon than the gun. They just fit inside there like that. Pretty cool. So, what everybody's been waiting for, the gun itself. And as you can see, it's very highly detailed, especially for a spring gun. If you looked at this gun and didn't even know what it was, you would probably assume it was blowback. Extremely fine detail. It does have fake trades on it. It says Model Eagle 50 AE pistol, Kindwell Industry. It's funny, there's a little bit of Chinglish there. There's no industries, it's just Industry, Co, Ltd, KWC in parentheses there. It's funny because they mock Israel Military Industries on this side, and they mock Magnum Research on the other side, which is pretty funny that they're both on the same gun. It says Mag Top Research Incorporated Taiwan ROC, made in Taiwan. Has a little KWC down there. One of the things that I checked to see if this gun was imported is if the how the orange tip was actually painted on there, and you can see this warning sticker actually has paint over top of it, which tells me that this gun was just painted prior to shipping and was not painted from the factory, because the factory obviously wouldn't do that. You can see it's very ugly, it's shoddy, and it really detracts from the gun, but I'm not going to damage the gun trying to remove this paint. I'm just going to leave it on there. You really have to see this thing in person to appreciate the detail of it. The thing is freaking huge too. I just want you guys to just take a good close look at this, and keep in mind this is a spring pistol we're looking at. Pretty ridiculous. So, in case you're wondering what the materials of the gun are, the slide, frame, outer barrel, and the majority of the gun is actually ABS plastic, but there's a lot of metal in it also, and a lot of the controls on it are metal. So I'll go ahead and name off the plastic and metal parts, okay? So the hammer here, that is metal. Your safety switch is actually plastic. Your slide lock and slide release is metal. Trigger's metal. Your mag release button right here is metal. Your takedown button right here is metal. Your takedown lever over here is metal. And quite a bit of the internal parts of the gun are metal. So your magazine release is right here. It's just a little round button. You push it and your mag comes right out. The magazines are extremely high quality. They actually have a steel outer shell. You can see they're very appropriately marked with witness holes right here, numbering 4, 5, 6, and 7, which is actually what the real 50 cal would hold. Very, very realistic. It's tack welded on the back here. Got a steel base plate on it. Very realistic. Come on, focus. There we go. Very nice, very realistic mags. Interesting about this magazine is the fact that it's actually double stack and double feed. There will actually be 2 BBs up here, and it's dual feed, kind of like a MP5 mag or something. It's pretty ridiculous how this gun double feeds. I don't think there's really any other spring pistol out there that does that. You can see the feed lips here are plastic, and the internal part of the magazine is plastic. And because of this interesting dual feed design, you actually really do need the included speed loader to load it, and I'll show you guys how to do that real quick. Let me refocus here. So to do that, what you want to do is you just take your tube, and it actually fits perfectly on the magazine feed lips. You just pour your BBs into this tube to the top. You take the rod here and just jam the BBs down into the gun. You can load it by hand, but it's kind of a pain in the butt, and I really wouldn't recommend doing that. I would just recommend using the included speed loader if you're going to shoot it at all, which I wouldn't recommend because it's a really delicate gun, and the older they get, the more delicate they're going to be. As you can see, I have 2 magazines here. So, magazine fits in the gun nicely, makes a nice noise when you seat it. So, you have a fully functional safety here. When the safety is on, you cannot pull the trigger or retract the slide. Very positive safety. It is on both sides, and it does function on both sides. Another really neat detail that they threw in. You have a slide lock right here. The gun does lock open on empty. As you can see, slide lock is fully functional. It's interesting, on the Shorty USA website back when I was a kid, they stated that the chamber on this gun is open, but I really wouldn't consider that to be open. It's kind of semi-open. The whole spring mechanism is kind of enclosed in here. I don't know whether I would consider that open or not, but it's just kind of interesting how the gun works. And another really interesting feature about this gun that really differentiates it from other spring pistols, there's only a couple other spring pistols on the market that I could ever remember having this. It actually has a fully adjustable hop-up. So to access that, you just pull the slide back, make sure to lock it, and you pull back this cover right here, and there it is. It's got a wheel-style hop-up, and it actually is adjustable. The hop-up on this gun is awful. It's one of the most inaccurate guns I've ever shot. Probably due to its age, the hop-up system probably isn't very effective, which makes this gun extremely inaccurate, unfortunately. So it's not a gun you're going to get out and target shoot because it's not very accurate. The one I owned as a kid wasn't very accurate, neither is this one. Unfortunately, I don't know why that is. It's just how it is. This thing is freaking huge, by the way. It's freaking enormous. It's not all that heavy because it's mostly plastic, but it's still got a decent heft to it because of the metal parts. But before we disassemble this gun, which I'm going to do a detailed disassembly of it here in just a sec so you guys know how to take it apart, because that is kind of an involved thing. Let me go get a regular size gun and we'll go ahead and compare them. Okay, so here is the Game Face Full Metal Spring 1911 I just did a review on. This is a pretty average sized gun. The 1911 is no small gun by any stretch of the imagination. It's a full size handgun. It's a bit on the thin side, but as far as the size of it, it's pretty well sized. It's not small or anything. And let's just compare the size of these two guns. Okay, not a huge difference from this angle, right? The Desert Eagle's a little bit bigger. Let's try it from this angle, right here. Yeah, it is a much bigger gun. And it fills your hand, and you can tell that you've got a gun in your hand when you hold this thing. It's a big, beefy handgun, even in spring plastic gun form. I can only imagine how the real one would feel. So, alright, so that being said, let's go ahead and disassemble this gun. I'll talk a little bit about the performance and the velocity in a couple seconds, but you have to make sure it's uncocked. I don't like dry firing it, but I have to disassemble it, so make sure the gun is not cocked. Okay, what you want to do is you want to drop your magazine. It's very important that you do this. The gun will not come apart with the magazine in it. So I'm going to try to do this without goofing it up because it's a really hard thing to do on camera. So what you want to do is you have this button right here. And you have this lever over here. And it disassembles very similarly to a Beretta. You push this button over here and push this lever forward like that. Now you can commence disassembling the gun. You can see the slide will start to kind of come forward. What you want to do first is keep the slide from going anywhere and grab the barrel first and pull it forward. Pull it forward a little bit and then pull up on it and jiggle it a little bit and it comes out. So set that to the side. What you want to do now is just take the slide right off. Okay. Now, we can get to looking at the guts of this gun, which is its ultimate downfall. See if it'll focus in there. So you have a very complicated spring mechanism. Here's your feed nozzle right here that feeds the BBs out of the magazine. There's a rubber seal in there that connects with the barrel. You have a cap at the back that's screwed in, which has been known to wear out. You can see these two little metal screws here. See the safety. It's got a complicated metal piece up in there. You have true dual recoil springs. There actually is 2 recoil springs in this gun. Why you need that on a spring pistol, I don't know, but they do come out. You have 2 recoil springs, which is another thing that adds the complexness of this gun. I don't even think that's a word. And this little piece here that holds the springs, this comes out. It's just an insanely complicated gun. So let's take a look at the barrel here. Same trend. Complicated, a lot of pieces involved. The hop up is pretty complex in there. It's just a complicated gun. See down the barrel there. Screwed in by the 2 screws right there. We have the frame. Frame isn't too complicated. Complicated enough, I guess. You have your springs here, right here, that holds the spring back. Things like that. You have a transfer bar, which is this piece of metal I'm trying to keep from falling off. This piece likes to fall off a lot, so you kind of shimmy it back into place because it likes to fall off, unfortunately. So, and there's a little spring in there that holds it down, which is right here. You gotta kind of shimmy it back on there, which isn't fun to do. There we go. Okay, don't want that to fall off again. So to reassemble a gun is probably the most painful part of it all. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. God, I don't even know where to start. Okay, first things first. You actually kind of want to do part of this upside down. You go ahead and line your recoil springs back up and just kind of set them in there where they go. Push them in there, make sure they're nice and tight. So you want to start the reassembly upside down. Slide the slide on there. Once these recoil springs start to clear the frame, you flip it back around, but they're not wanting to clear. I would not recommend disassembling this gun unless you really need to. Okay, now that those have cleared, we can kind of guide them back in there. I'm going to pull the trigger a little bit to make sure that transfer bar clears. Right here, you want to kind of push it down out of the way of the slide while you fiddle with these guide rods. It's really not a fun procedure to do. Not at all. Matter of fact, I freaking hate it. Make sure this is pushed back. Make sure these guide rods go in the right spot. Even then, it still probably won't go together the first try. You just gotta work with it and shimmy it around. Okay, there we go. Okay, I think we kind of got it. Now we can kind of pull the slide back here. Make sure these are snapped in the right spots. And they are. So now you can put the barrel back in same way. Just kind of slot it down in there. Okay. Push the whole assembly back. Turn that back up. Make sure the gun functions, and it does. Put the mag in it. Test for the slide lock function, and it does. Okay, so in conclusion, this is not a gun you want to field. It's delicate, it breaks easily, it's not very accurate, and it's a collector's item. So if you do happen upon one of these on eBay, I wouldn't recommend fielding it. I would just recommend keeping it as a neat little collector's piece, maybe taking it out and shooting it every now and again, because I have shot this one. It shoots okay, I guess. It's just not very accurate because of that old antiquated hop-up system. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm sorry for all the autofocusing. This camera loves to go autofocus crazy. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will be coming back to you guys with some more reviews in the future. I'll see you later.